China-US trade relations, they've been a little bit rocky over the last few days. And, President Trump, unfortunately, when he heard that the Chinese would require companies or at least exports to obtain a license to send rare earth minerals out to different countries, the president basically was not too happy because the negotiations that have gone on up until now, the US has been negotiating to be able to receive rare earth elements. And now all of a sudden, the Chinese have said that licenses are now necessary. And President Trump recently, last Friday, I believe, said that he would be putting tariffs back on China should they go through with this scenario. So obviously on Monday, things were a little bit better. President Trump said that he doesn't see that putting 100% tariffs would be necessary, that the meeting with the head of China, the president of China, Xi Jinping, would still take place in South Korea at the end of the month. So everything was great. Markets went up. And then on Tuesday, once again, we heard some talk about China putting restrictions once again. So there's been this back and forth between the United States and China over the last few days. And rare earth materials, rare earth elements have been the basically ground zero for the discussions. We know that China produces most of what the world needs with respect to rare earth materials. And, some would say that they may even have the upper hand because of this. You need rare earth materials or metals, rare earth elements for batteries, for drones, for many different things that we require in our day-to-day lives. And because China represents or makes up a large amount of this, they really can hold the rest of the world hostage because of it. And the United States seems to believe that they have, some ways to get China to the negotiating table if they were to use that as a bargaining chip. But I guess time will tell. Our first chart here shows exactly what I was just saying, how much of the imports that go into the United States come from China. You could see right here, 70% come from China. So almost 3/4 of what the United States is taking in right now comes from China. You could see that the green, I don't know if you can see it on your screen, it's a little bit small, but the green is Malaysia, 13%. Japan is about 6%, and Estonia, 5%, and everywhere else makes up about 6%. In case you're wondering where Canada sits, we do have rare earth in Canada, but right now, we're still trying to get it out of the ground and process it, whereas China obviously has been doing this for quite some time. Australia also has rare earth materials and metals that the rest of the world needs. So the hope is that going forward, Canada can use these rare earth elements maybe as a bargaining chip ourselves with the United States and perhaps provide them and be that provider of rare earth elements. Our next chart that we have here shows, who's controlling the mining and refining of rare earth elements. As I said, it's hard again to see the different parts, but you could see here that red is China, blue is the US. There are actually a few companies in the US, MP Materials being one of them, that the United States has taken a stake in most recently. There have been other companies that many believe are next that the United States government, that is, will take a stake in. And we've seen that sector really start to move higher, and a lot of the stock prices moving higher along with them. But you could clearly see that by 2040, China, which is the far right bar, the red, which is China, will still maintain their dominance. That is the projection for rare earth elements. The refining and the mining of it both look to be mostly China and what they will be able to do. Our next chart here is actually of our map of Canada, and you could see here all the different things that are going on in our country right now. But you can see a lot of the things are active, but still not at the stage that China is at with respect to rare earth materials. All the dots represent activity. You can see processing, feasibility, primary economic assessments being done, resource estimates, etc. Those are your orangey boxes, and then you look at the green. That's the active mines that were active with respect to rare earth. Our next chart we can show up. And this shows all the different things as a country that we produce: the coppers, the lithiums, the potash, phosphorus, the nickel, the cobalt, the zinc. Our country is rich with different metals and rare earth elements. And that's really what I think many are calling for. They're calling for our government to be able to cut the red tape so that we can unleash these elements to the rest of the world, to be able to trade and have a good, I guess, maybe even an upper hand with respect to trade with the rest of the world, because a lot of the world does not and do not currently produce what Canada does with respect to materials and metals and mining, not to mention in the gold and the silver, a lot of copper, aluminum, all the things that the rest of the world needs, including the United States. We know that the United States has put tariffs on our aluminum, our steel, copper, even our energy, and our uranium have tariffs on them for about 10%. But right now, they're saying 50% tariffs on things such as steel and aluminum. I'm wondering how long this is going to last. Obviously, this is a negotiation that's been going on with the Prime Minister, going down to Washington, I believe, within the last week or so. And we still have not heard anything as yet. So you can clearly see that even though China dominates the world with respect to rare earth elements, rare earth materials, Canada at some point, hopefully, will be able to join the party with respect to those elements and provide the United States, perhaps the rest of the world, many of the elements that it seeks today.